Well, it's happening. Arcane Season 2 is officially a go, and I know I'm not the only one who is so damn excited for this. Season 1 ended on a beautiful, tragic cliffhanger, and fortunately for Arcane, its relative riskiness is probably going to work in its favor, as the second season, while currently in development, probably won't be dropping until 2023 at the earliest. And considering that the first season took 6 years to develop, giving Arcane and Riot a few more years to get everything set up for a second season seems like the right idea. And as frustrating as it might be for us fans, it's definitely in line with Riot's general approach to go for quality instead of quantity and speed. So Riot's going to have a long time to figure out where they go next from this cliffhanger ending to Season 1. And in all honesty, I fully expect them to not play it safe and to take Season 2 in a different direction to Season 1. And I'm not talking about stylistically or thematically that Season 2 would be a completely different show from what we've seen in Season 1. More along the lines of maybe going with new characters, new settings, and a slight tweak to the tone so that we can expand the world that has already been established in the first season. In my mind, there are really three major candidates for new settings and directions that Riot can go with Season 2. So today I want to talk a little bit about what those directions are, how they can build on what we already have from Season 1, and how they could also lead to a further expansion of the world of Runeterra just generally for an Arcane series going forward. These three directions are based off of the characters and elements that have already been introduced in Season 1, as well as the existing League of Legends lore that we have available to us. And if you find any of these suggestions interesting, be sure to give this video a like and drop a comment so that I know, and maybe I will go in a future episode and do a much deeper dive and theory craft what a Season 2 based on a given direction could look like. The first major change / new direction that I could see Arcane Season 2 going in is actually to stay in the same setting, but really change the focus of the characters. In this idea, we would stay in the world of Piltover and Zaun, focusing on the same general storyline. We would pick up Season 2 about where Season 1 ended. Maybe a significant amount of time has passed after Jinx fires her super mega death rocket, but in Season 2, the characters who are at the forefront would change. Whereas Season 1 focused a lot on Vi and Jinx's relationship, as well as Jace on the Piltover side, in Season 2, I would really like it if we could see Arcane focus more on characters like Echo, Victor, and Caitlyn. These are characters that we got a taste of in Season 1. They were featured somewhat prominently, but we haven't really gotten a fully fleshed out view of their backstory, their motivations, what drives them, and how they fit into this whole world, which is important because they are all characters in League of Legends the game. And I'm not saying that Vi, Jace, and Jinx would all be written out of the show completely. They would all still be there, and they would all still have central roles. But since we've already kind of gone into their backstories and their character arcs have kind of already been explored enough, I feel like it would be appropriate to kind of push them a little bit more to the background and give other characters their chance to shine. Now, doing this is advantageous for two reasons. First, it keeps the story grounded in the same general structure. We get to expand on and understand the world that we've already been living in for one season. Audiences who are not familiar with League of Legends aren't going to be thrown into a completely new setting, but also it has characters that we know and are familiar with. But also at the same time, we're doing deep dives into characters that we know but don't really have a great understanding of, and that means that we're going to have the opportunity for a much different story in Season 2. Even in the same setting and with similar characters, we can see the relationship between Echo and Heimerdinger and how Echo works to become the boy who shattered time. We can learn about Caitlyn and House Kierneman and how she is eventually going to become the Sheriff of Piltover. And we can also learn about Victor and how his continued work with Hexcore turns him into the mechanical monstrosity that he is in the League of Legends game. And the best of all, we get to see the fallout of that super mega death rocket and what effect it has on the people of Piltover from the grounds level. We get to see how tensions between the cities have come to a head. We get to see that conflict continue and change and evolve. We get to see the political machinations, and it's still a very good opportunity to introduce other elements of Runeterra to potentially expand the scope of the show in a future season. Option 2 is to continue pulling on a thread that was introduced towards the end of Season 1, and that is Councilwoman Medarda, aka Mel, and her mother, Ambessa. Now, both of these women are members of Clan Medarda, which is one of the minor clans in Noxus. Noxus, for those who are not familiar with the League of Legends lore, is the warmongering, sort of Spartan-esque nation in Runeterra. Now, Noxus is a nation that values strength above everything, and that doesn't just mean physical strength, but cunning and intelligence and ruthlessness. This is a nation that is incredibly warlike, and they are always on the lookout to expand and conquer those that they perceive to be weaker. So the relationship between the Medardas and Piltover is going to be one that could be very interesting to keep pulling on. Now, the Medarda clan is actually mentioned in Noxian lore in, ironically, a story titled Progress Day, in which two Noxian spies attempt to gain a place within the Medarda house of Piltover in order to relay intelligence back to the Noxus capital. So in this way, a second season that focuses on Noxus and this connection to Piltover could serve a twofold purpose. It would serve to introduce a new setting and new characters, but still provide the audience a connection to Piltover and what's happening there and how that affects Noxus. If Mel was killed, perhaps her family and her clan would see this as a slight and convince the Noxians to go to war or raise aggression against Piltover, or perhaps the Noxians see this attack from within against Piltover as a sign of weakness and seize the opportunity to strike a blow against a perceived weak opponent. Regardless, this would be an incredible opportunity to expand the roster of champions that we have in Arcane. We could introduce characters like Darius, Draven, Katarina, or Swain, or if you wanted to focus a bit more on Singed and his experiments, as well as Victor and his delving into Hexcore. A great character to introduce and follow would be the undead juggernaut Zion. Now, one downside might be that we don't get to spend as much time with characters that we already know from Season 1, but there's still definitely enough connective tissue that we would be able to connect back to the characters from Piltover and Zaun. Now, this last one is going to come pretty much completely out of left field, but mainly based off the title of the show, Arcane. I think there's a decent chance that Season 2 could focus on the mysterious creature who helped save Jace and his mother. The person that most League of Legends fans are speculating is Ryze. Now, Ryze in the lore isn't very well fleshed out in terms of his background, which makes him a prime candidate to be sort of retconned in Arcane. Ryze doesn't really have any relationships with any characters that we have seen in Arcane. His stories tend to focus on him interacting with more magical beings like Annie and Brand and Nasus, and this could be very important to Victor, who is trying to crack the secrets of Hextech and Hexcore. I could definitely see a season where Victor, perhaps accompanied by Jace, goes in search of this mystical shaman who teleported Jace and his mother all those years ago to help explain and enlighten him about the secrets of the arcane magic that Heimerdinger is so worried about. We could get more information on that magical war that Heimerdinger is constantly flashing back to. We could learn a lot more about the arcane arts and how magic works in this world, which is a big foundational piece of the world of Runeterra. And we could get more backstory into Victor, potentially his relationship with Jace, and his illness. And this one probably has the least connective tissue to the Season 1 story arc, but I do think that given that Season 1 is kind of an unexpected success, and now there seems to be poised for future seasons going off of this same sort of world building, that establishing the magic behind the world that gives this title its name could be a good thing. And there you have it, 3 different options that Season 2 of Arcane could go in. Let me know which one you would prefer to see in the comments. Thanks for watching, and go ahead and smash that like button if you want to see more Arcane content.